Born as Nayvadius DeMun Wilburn on November 20th, 1983, in Atlanta, Georgia, the artist who would later become known to the world as Future was shaped by the gritty streets and vibrant culture of his hometown. Atlanta, often referred to as the capital of the South, was not just a place of residence for Future, it was the crucible where his identity was forged. Growing up in the tough neighborhood of Kirkwood, he was exposed to both the hardships and the opportunities that would later define his music and persona. From a young age, Future was surrounded by music, though not in the traditional sense. His family connections played a significant role in his early exposure to the industry. His cousin, Rico Wade, was a member of the legendary production team known as the Dungeon Family. This collective was responsible for shaping the careers of iconic Southern rap acts like Outkast and Goody Mob. Through Rico, Future gained a behind-the-scenes look at the music industry, witnessing the creative process that goes into making hits. This experience would prove invaluable as he began to carve out his own path. However, Future's journey wasn't a straightforward ascent. His early years were marked by struggles typical of many young men growing up in inner-city Atlanta. Poverty, crime, and the constant temptation of the streets were ever-present challenges. Despite these obstacles, or perhaps because of them, Future developed a resilience and determination that would later fuel his drive to succeed. He wasn't just dreaming of escaping his circumstances, he was actively seeking out ways to change them. Music became the outlet through which Future channeled his experiences and emotions. Influenced by the sounds of the city and the stories of those around him, he began to experiment with writing and recording his own tracks. His early attempts were rough, but they were a crucial learning process. During this period, he adopted the name The Future, a moniker that reflected his aspirations and the forward-thinking nature of his music. The turning point in Future's early career came when he officially joined the Dungeon Family, a moment that would set him on the path to stardom. Being part of this collective provided him with a unique opportunity to learn from some of the most innovative and influential figures in Southern hip-hop. It was within the walls of the legendary Dungeon, a basement studio filled with musical equipment and the echoes of countless classic tracks, that Future began to hone his craft. Under the guidance of Rico Wade and other members of the Dungeon Family, Future started to refine his style. He experimented with different sounds and flows, slowly developing the unique blend of melodic autotune and gritty lyricism that would later become his trademark. This period was one of intense creativity and growth, as Future absorbed everything he could from his mentors. He wasn't just learning how to make music, he was learning how to make music that resonated with people, that told a story, and that captured the essence of his experiences. Future's early work with the Dungeon Family also introduced him to the broader landscape of the music industry. He began to understand the importance of networking, branding, and staying true to one's artistic vision. These lessons would serve him well in the years to come, as he transitioned from an underground artist to a mainstream star. But before Future could achieve success, he had to face numerous challenges. The road to stardom was paved with setbacks, including struggles with self-doubt and the harsh realities of the music business. There were moments when the future seemed uncertain, when the pressures of life and the demands of the industry threatened to derail his dreams. Yet, through it all, Future remained focused on his goal. He knew that he had something unique to offer the world, and he was determined to make his voice heard. Future's big break came in the form of his early mixtapes, which began to circulate in the Atlanta underground scene. These tapes, which included projects like 1000 and Dirty Sprite, started to generate a buzz that extended beyond the city limits. His music was raw and unpolished, but it had an undeniable energy that resonated with listeners. Future's ability to blend catchy hooks with introspective lyrics set him apart from other artists, and it wasn't long before he caught the attention of industry insiders. One of Future's earliest successes was the track Tony Montana, a song that captured the attention of fans and critics alike. The song, with its infectious hook and gritty lyrics, became a street anthem, further solidifying Future's presence in the hip hop scene. Tony Montana was more than just a hit. It was a statement of intent, a declaration that Future was here to stay and that he was ready to take on the world. Despite the excitement surrounding his rising career, Future knew that success wouldn't come without hard work and perseverance. The transition from underground sensation to mainstream artist was fraught with challenges. The music industry can be unforgiving, and the pressures of maintaining relevance while staying true to one's artistic vision are immense. Future faced these challenges head-on, drawing on the lessons he had learned from the Dungeon family and his own experiences growing up in Atlanta. As Future's star continued to rise, so too did the expectations placed on him. But rather than buckle under the pressure, he used it as motivation to push himself even further. He began to refine his sound, experimenting with new flows and production techniques. His music became more polished, yet it retained the raw emotional depth that had endeared him to his early fans. Future was evolving as an artist, and the world was starting to take notice. As Future continued to grind in the Atlanta music scene, his early mixtapes began to set the foundation for what would become a legendary career. While his work with the Dungeon family had given him the tools to craft his sound, it was through his relentless work ethic and strategic networking that he began to build a reputation as one of the most promising new artists in the game. The release of his early mixtapes, such as 1000 and Dirty Sprite, marked a significant turning point. These projects were raw, unfiltered expressions of Future's life and experiences. They were full of the energy and emotion that he had been honing for years, but they also showcased the distinct style he was developing, a style that blended the gritty realities of street life with a melodic, almost hypnotic flow. This unique combination caught the attention of listeners who were drawn to the authenticity and intensity of his music. Dirty Sprite in particular began to make waves beyond Atlanta. The mixtape's title track, named after a popular drink in hip-hop culture that mixed prescription-strength cough syrup with soda, became an anthem for those living the lifestyle Future was rapping about. The song's catchy hook and moody production captured the imagination of a generation grappling with similar themes of escapism, pain, and excess. This mixtape wasn't just music, it was a cultural statement reflecting the struggles and desires of many young people at the time. Future's growing popularity in the underground scene didn't go unnoticed by the industry. The buzz around his music caught the attention of DJ Esco, a well-known figure in the Atlanta club scene, who would go on to become one of Future's closest collaborators. Together, they began to build a movement, with Future's music becoming a staple in clubs and mixtape circuits across the South. The pair understood the power of the streets and how to leverage it to build a fan base that was both loyal and vocal. The breakthrough moment that truly catapulted Future into the mainstream came with the release of the single Tony Montana. Inspired by the iconic character from the movie Scarface, the song was an aggressive, unapologetic banger that resonated with fans and quickly became a hit. Tony Montana wasn't just a song. It was an anthem for anyone who felt like they were fighting to reach the top against all odds. The track's success marked the beginning of Future's ascent into the upper echelons of hip-hop. But it wasn't just his music that was catching people's attention. Future's persona was also starting to take shape. His use of auto-tune, a vocal effect that had been popularized by artists like T-Pain, became a defining characteristic of his sound. However, Future used it in a way that was distinctively his own. He didn't just use auto-tune as a gimmick. He used it to convey emotion, to express the pain, loneliness, and ambition that underpinned much of his music. This approach to auto-tune, which blended melody with raw emotion, would go on to influence a generation of artists and become a hallmark of the trap genre. As Future's profile grew, so did the opportunities. He was quickly becoming one of the most sought after new voices in hip hop, and collaborations with established artists soon followed. Working with major names like Drake, Gucci Mane, and Lil Wayne not only expanded his audience, but also solidified his reputation as a serious artist capable of holding his own with the best in the industry. Each collaboration was another step forward, another piece of the puzzle that would eventually define Future as a trailblazer in the genre. While Future was experiencing professional success, his personal life was also undergoing significant changes. He was becoming a father, and the responsibilities that came with it added new layers to his music. The themes of struggle, responsibility, and the pressure to succeed were becoming more pronounced in his lyrics, reflecting his evolving perspective on life. These experiences didn't just influence his music, they also influenced the way he navigated the industry. Future was no longer just an up-and-coming rapper. He was becoming a businessman, carefully managing his image, his brand, and his growing empire. The release of his debut album Pluto in 2012 was a culmination of all the work he had put in over the years. The album was a commercial success, debuting at number 8 on the Billboard 200 and spawning several hit singles, including Turn on the Lights and Never End. Pluto was a defining moment in Future's career, showcasing his ability to create music that was both commercially viable and artistically innovative. The album's success marked his official arrival on the national stage, but it also marked the beginning of a new phase in his career. Pluto was more than just a collection of songs. It was a statement of intent. It was Future's declaration that he was here to stay and that he was ready to push the boundaries of what hip-hop could be. The album's blend of futuristic production, melodic hooks, and introspective lyrics set a new standard for the genre, influencing countless artists and solidifying Future's place as a pioneer in the trap movement. However, success also brought new challenges. The pressure to maintain his momentum was immense, and the expectations from fans, critics, and industry insiders were higher than ever. Future knew that he couldn't afford to rest on his laurels. He had to keep evolving, keep pushing forward. This realization led to a period of intense creativity as he began to experiment with new sounds and ideas, laying the groundwork for what would become some of his most iconic projects. As Future navigated the early stages of his career, he remained grounded by the lessons he had learned during his time with the Dungeon family. He understood the importance of staying true to his vision, of maintaining his authenticity even as his star continued to rise. This commitment to his craft, combined with his relentless work ethic, would prove to be the driving force behind his continued success in the years to come. Future's journey from the streets of Atlanta to the top of the charts was just beginning. He had already made a name for himself, but he knew that there was still so much more he wanted to achieve. With the release of Pluto, Future had taken his first major step into the spotlight. But the world had only seen a glimpse of what he was capable of. The next chapter of his story would see him not just maintain his place in the spotlight, but dominate it as he continued to redefine the sound and culture of hip-hop. Following the success of Pluto, Future was more determined than ever to solidify his place at the top of the hip-hop world. The industry had taken notice of his innovative sound, and his ability to blend melody with the gritty reality of his lyrics had struck a chord with listeners across the globe. But Future knew that to maintain his momentum, he had to keep evolving, keep pushing the boundaries of what his music could be. The release of Pluto had established Future as a force to be reckoned with, but it was his subsequent projects that truly cemented his status as one of the leading voices in the trap genre. His sophomore album, Honest, released in 2014, was a significant step forward in his career. The album showcased a more refined and polished version of the sound he had been developing, blending his trademark auto-tune-laced vocals with more mainstream production. Honest featured collaborations with major artists like Kanye West, Drake, and Pharrell, further elevating Future's profile. Honest was a commercial success, debuting at number 2 on the Billboard 200, but it also represented a period of introspection for Future. The album's title reflected his desire to be more transparent and vulnerable in his music, addressing both his triumphs and his struggles with equal candor. Tracks like I Won, featuring Kanye West, highlighted Future's more personal side as he reflected on his relationships and his aspirations outside of music. However, despite its success, Honest also marked a turning point in Future's career, a moment when he realized that to reach his full potential, he needed to take creative risks. As Future's career continued to ascend, so did the complexity of his personal life. His highly publicized relationship with singer Ciara had become a focal point for the media, adding a layer of scrutiny that Future hadn't experienced before. The couple's engagement and the birth of their son seemed to signal a new chapter in Future's life, one that balanced his musical ambitions with his responsibilities as a father and partner. However, the relationship ultimately ended in a very public and painful breakup, which became a significant source of inspiration for Future's music. The breakup with Ciara marked the beginning of a darker, more introspective phase in Future's career. This period was characterized by a series of mixtapes that would come to define his legacy in hip-hop. In 2014 and 2015, Future released 3 critically acclaimed mixtapes: Monster, Beast Mode, and 56 Nights. These projects were raw, emotional, and unfiltered expressions of Future's life during this tumultuous time. The pain, anger, and sense of betrayal that he felt were channeled into his music, creating some of the most powerful and impactful work of his career. Monster in particular was a game changer. The mixtape, produced primarily by Atlanta's own Metro Boomin, featured some of Future's most iconic tracks, including the anthemic Codeine Crazy. This song, with its haunting production and deeply personal lyrics, became a fan favorite and is often cited as one of Future's best works. The success of Monster re-established Future as a dominant force in the hip-hop scene, proving that he could not only survive the ups and downs of fame, but also use them to fuel his creativity. The back-to-back releases of Beast Mode and 56 Nights further solidified Future's reputation as a prolific artist with an unparalleled work ethic. These mixtapes, released within months of each other, showcased Future's ability to maintain a high level of quality while continuously releasing new music. Beast Mode, produced by Zetavan, was a return to Future's roots, with its soulful, piano-driven beats providing the perfect backdrop for his introspective lyrics. Meanwhile, 56 Nights was a reflection on the time DJ Esco, Future's longtime collaborator, spent in a Dubai jail, a harrowing experience that influenced the dark, brooding tone of the mixtape. As Future continued to release these mixtapes, his fan base grew exponentially. The authenticity and raw emotion in his music resonated with listeners who were drawn to his honesty and vulnerability. Future was no longer just a rapper. He had become a voice for a generation grappling with issues of heartbreak, addiction, and the pursuit of success. His music spoke to the highs and lows of life, offering both an escape and a reflection of the realities faced by many of his fans. By the time Future released his third studio album, DS2, Dirty Sprite 2, in 2015, he had firmly established himself as one of the most influential artists in hip-hop. DS2 was a commercial and critical success, debuting at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and solidifying Future's dominance in the genre. The album was a masterclass in trap music, featuring hit singles like Where Ya At and Fuck Up Some Commas. It was a culmination of everything Future had been working towards, a perfect blend of his melodic hooks, dark, introspective lyrics, and innovative production. DS2 wasn't just an album, it was a cultural moment. The project received widespread acclaim for its cohesiveness and the way it captured the essence of Future's persona. An artist who had weathered the storms of life and emerged stronger, more focused, and more determined than ever. The album's success marked the beginning of what many would call Future's golden era, a period where he could do no wrong in the eyes of his fans and critics alike. Future's rise to stardom was not just about his music. It was about his ability to connect with people on a deeper level. He had a unique talent for turning his pain into art, for taking the struggles and challenges of his life and transforming them into something beautiful. This ability to be vulnerable and honest in his music made him relatable to millions of fans who saw their own experiences reflected in his lyrics. As Future stood at the pinnacle of his career, he knew that he had not only achieved success, but had also set a new standard for what it meant to be a hip-hop artist. He had taken the genre in new directions, blending elements of trap, R&B, and electronic music to create a sound that was uniquely his own. And while the journey had been anything but easy, Future had proven that he was a visionary, an artist who was always looking forward, always pushing the boundaries of what was possible. But Future's story was far from over. As he looked to the future, he knew that the key to maintaining his success would be reinvention, continuing to evolve as an artist and staying ahead of the curve. The next phase of his career would see him take even more creative risks, exploring new sounds and ideas while staying true to the core of what made his music resonate with so many people. As Future basked in the success of DS2, the pressure to maintain his momentum was intense. He had set a high bar with his previous releases, and the expectations from fans and critics alike were at an all-time high. But instead of resting on his laurels, Future chose to double down on his work ethic, continuing to release music at a relentless pace. This period of his career would be marked by a series of strategic moves that would not only sustain his relevance, but also solidify his legacy as one of hip-hop's most innovative artists. One of the key elements of Future's continued success was his ability to reinvent himself while staying true to the core elements of his sound. Following the release of DS2, Future kept the momentum going with a string of mixtapes that demonstrated his versatility and willingness to experiment. Among these were Purple Rain and Evil, both released in 2016. These projects were crucial in showcasing Future's ability to navigate different sonic landscapes while maintaining the emotional depth that had become a hallmark of his music. Purple Rain was a mixtape that further delved into the themes of pain, loss, and redemption. The project featured production from longtime collaborators like Metro Boomin and Southside, creating a cohesive soundscape that was both dark and introspective. Tracks like Perky's Calling and Inside the Mattress highlighted Future's ongoing struggles with fame, substance abuse, and the pressures of his personal life. The mixtape was well received by fans and critics, reinforcing Future's position as a leader in the trap genre. Following closely on the heels of Purple Rain was Evil, an album that debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, marking Future's third consecutive #1 album in less than 7 months. Evil showcased a more polished and experimental side of Future's music, with tracks like Low Life, featuring The Weeknd, becoming instant hits. The album's title, a play on the word love spelled backward, hinted at the recurring themes of love, heartbreak, and disillusionment that permeated the project. Evil was another testament to Future's ability to tap into the emotional complexities of his experiences and translate them into music that resonated with his audience. By this time, Future's dominance in the music industry was undeniable. His prolific output and consistent quality had earned him a reputation as one of the hardest working artists in hip-hop. But beyond his work ethic, it was Future's ability to connect with his audience on a deep, emotional level that truly set him apart. His music wasn't just about catchy hooks or club anthems. It was a reflection of his life, his struggles, and his triumphs. Future's relentless pursuit of success culminated in an unprecedented achievement in 2017, when he became the first artist in history to debut 2 albums at #1 on the Billboard 200 in consecutive weeks. The 2 albums, Future and HNDRXX, were released just a week apart, showcasing two distinct sides of the artist's persona. Future was a hard-hitting, trap-heavy project that reminded listeners of the gritty, streetwise artist they had come to know. In contrast, HNDRXX offered a more melodic and introspective sound, exploring themes of love, regret, and vulnerability. Future was an unapologetic return to the artist's roots, filled with bangers like Mask Off and Draco that became instant hits. The album's success was fueled by Future's ability to create anthems that were both infectious and introspective, capturing the duality of his persona. Mask Off, in particular, became one of Future's most iconic tracks, with its haunting flute melody and hypnotic beat becoming a cultural phenomenon. The song's hook, "Mask on, fuck it, mask off," became a catchphrase that resonated far beyond the confines of the hip-hop community, reflecting the themes of authenticity and transparency that had always been central to Future's music. On the other hand, HNDRXX allowed Future to explore a different side of his artistry. The album was more R&B influenced, featuring smoother production and more personal, introspective lyrics. Tracks like "Coming Out Strong," featuring The Weeknd, and "Selfish," featuring Rihanna, showcase Future's ability to craft emotionally charged songs that explored the complexities of relationships and self-reflection. HNDRXX was a critical success, praised for its vulnerability and the way it contrasted with the more aggressive tone of Future. The duality of these two albums demonstrated Future's versatility as an artist and his willingness to take risks. While many artists might have played it safe after achieving such success, Future chose to challenge himself, exploring different aspects of his identity and pushing the boundaries of his sound. This willingness to evolve and experiment was key to his continued success, keeping his music fresh and relevant in an ever-changing industry. As Future's career continued to thrive, he also began to focus more on his role as a mentor and collaborator. He recognized the importance of giving back to the culture that had supported him and started to work more closely with up-and-coming artists. Future's influence could be seen in the rise of younger artists who were inspired by his sound and style, many of whom cited him as a major influence on their work. This new phase of his career saw Future not just as a leading artist in his own right, but as a tastemaker and a guiding force for the next generation of hip-hop talent. Despite his success, Future remained grounded by his experiences and the lessons he had learned along the way. He continued to navigate the challenges of fame, relationships, and personal growth, using his music as a form of therapy and a way to process the complexities of his life. Future's ability to turn his struggles into art was one of the reasons he resonated so deeply with his audience. His music wasn't just about celebrating success, it was about acknowledging the pain and challenges that came with it. As the years went on, Future's impact on the music industry only grew. He had become a defining voice of his generation, influencing not just the sound of hip-hop, but also its culture and aesthetic. His innovative use of autotune, his blend of melody and trap, and his emotionally charged lyrics had set a new standard for what it meant to be a hip-hop artist in the modern era. And while the music industry continued to evolve, Future remained at the forefront, constantly pushing himself to new heights. Looking back on this period of his career, it's clear that Future's success was not just a result of his talent, but also his determination, his willingness to take risks, and his commitment to staying true to his vision. He had faced numerous challenges along the way, but each one had only made him stronger and more resilient. As Future continued to build on his legacy, he knew that the key to his success lay in his ability to keep evolving, to keep pushing the boundaries of his art, and to stay ahead of the curve. As Future's career soared to new heights, he found himself not only in the limelight for his musical achievements, but also under intense scrutiny for his personal life and the choices he made along the way. Fame had brought him wealth, influence, and a massive fan base, but it also came with challenges and controversies that would test his resilience and shape his legacy. One of the most prominent aspects of Future's public persona was his complicated relationship with substance use. Throughout his career, Future's lyrics often referenced his use of drugs, particularly codeine and other prescription medications, which he openly discussed as both a source of inspiration and a coping mechanism for the pressures of fame. Tracks like Codeine Crazy and Mask Off were more than just hits. They were windows into Future's psyche, revealing the inner turmoil that he grappled with. However, this openness about substance use also sparked significant controversy. Critics and fans alike began to question the message Future was sending to his listeners, particularly the younger generation who looked up to him. Some argued that his music glamorized drug use, potentially influencing his fans to emulate the lifestyle he rapped about. Future, on the other hand, saw his music as a reflection of his reality, a way to process and express the challenges he faced. In interviews, he often expressed the complexity of his relationship with drugs, acknowledging both their role in his creative process and the dangers they posed. This controversy over his lyrics was compounded by the growing opioid crisis in the United States, which brought increased attention to the impact of drug-related content in popular culture. Future found himself at the center of a broader conversation about the responsibility of artists to their audiences, particularly when it came to sensitive topics like addiction. While Future continued to create music that resonated with his experiences, the criticism served as a reminder of the fine line he walked as both an artist and a public figure. Future's personal life also became a frequent subject of public debate, particularly his relationships and the children he fathered with multiple women. His high-profile engagement to singer Kiara had once been a symbol of hope and love for many fans, but the very public and acrimonious breakup that followed painted a different picture. The dissolution of their relationship led to a bitter custody battle over their son, Future Zahir, which played out in the media. The fallout from this breakup was not just personal, it also had professional implications, as Future channeled his emotions into his music, creating some of his most poignant and raw work to date. Despite the controversy surrounding his relationships, Future remained a devoted father to his children, often speaking about the importance of family in his life. However, his complex personal life also sparked discussions about the challenges of maintaining relationships in the public eye, particularly for someone as famous and influential as Future. The scrutiny from the media and the public added another layer of pressure to his already demanding career, forcing him to navigate these challenges while continuing to produce music at an extraordinary pace. Legal issues also began to surface as Future's fame grew. Lawsuits and legal battles became a regular occurrence, from disputes over child support to issues related to his business dealings. These challenges, while not uncommon for someone of Future's stature, further complicated his life, adding stress and distractions that could have derailed a lesser artist. But Future, true to form, used these experiences as fuel for his creativity, turning the pain and frustration into music that resonated with his audience. One of the most notable instances of Future addressing these personal and legal challenges in his music was the release of his album The Wizard in 2019. The album was a reflection on the pressures of fame, the complexities of his personal life, and the cost of success. Tracks like Crushed Up and Jumpin' on a Jet showcased Future's ability to turn his struggles into art, blending introspection with the high-energy beats and melodic hooks that had become his trademark. The Wizard was a critical and commercial success, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200, further cementing Future's place at the top of the rap game. In addition to addressing his personal challenges, The Wizard also served as a commentary on the broader state of the hip-hop industry. Future had seen the genre evolve significantly over the years, with many new artists rising to prominence by emulating the sound and style he had helped popularize. While some artists might have viewed this as a threat, Future embraced it as a sign of his influence, recognizing that his music had shaped a generation. However, he also used the album to assert his dominance, reminding listeners that he was not just a trendsetter, but a visionary who continued to push the boundaries of what hip-hop could be. As Future navigated the challenges of fame, controversy, and personal struggles, he remained focused on his legacy. He knew that his impact on the music industry extended far beyond his own success. He had inspired a new wave of artists who were carrying the torch forward. But with that influence came a responsibility to stay true to himself and his vision, even in the face of criticism and adversity. Throughout his career, Future had faced numerous obstacles, but he had always emerged stronger, using each challenge as an opportunity to grow and evolve as an artist. His ability to turn his pain into art, to take the darkest moments of his life and transform them into something powerful and meaningful, was one of the reasons he had remained at the top for so long. And as he looked to the future, he knew that his journey was far from over. There were still new heights to reach, new challenges to overcome, and new music to create. As Future's career entered its second decade, his influence on hip-hop and popular culture became undeniable. What began as a young artist's journey through the streets of Atlanta had transformed into a story of global impact, with Future standing as one of the most innovative and influential figures in modern music. His unique blend of melody, emotion, and grit had not only defined a genre, but also inspired a new generation of artists who saw in him a blueprint for success. One of the most significant aspects of Future's legacy is his role in shaping the sound of modern hip-hop. The trap subgenre, which originated in the South and was characterized by its heavy use of 808s, fast hi-hats, and dark, moody production, was taken to new heights by Future's innovative approach. His use of autotune as a tool for emotional expression, rather than just a vocal effect, set him apart from his contemporaries and created a new standard in the industry. Future's sound became synonymous with the genre, influencing not only fellow rappers but also pop and R&B artists looking to tap into the raw, emotive power of his music. The impact of Future's music can be seen in the rise of artists like Lil Uzi Vert, Travis Scott, and Young Thug, who have all cited him as a major influence on their work. These artists, along with many others, have adopted and adapted the sound that Future pioneered, using it to push the boundaries of what hip-hop can be. In this way, Future's influence extends far beyond his own discography. It can be heard in the music of countless artists across multiple genres, ensuring that his legacy will continue to shape the sound of popular music for years to come. Beyond his musical influence, Future's legacy also includes his contributions to hip-hop culture. His style, persona, and even his slang have permeated the broader cultural landscape, becoming part of the lexicon of a generation. Phrases like "mask off" and "dirty sprite" have entered popular culture, often used to express concepts of authenticity and rebellion that are central to Future's music. His fashion sense, characterized by designer brands mixed with streetwear, has also made him a style icon, influencing trends in both music and fashion. Future's business acumen has also played a crucial role in his legacy. Over the years, he has expanded his brand beyond music, launching his own record label, Free Bands, which has become a platform for nurturing new talent. Under his guidance, artists like Doughboy and Lil Wookie have begun to make their mark on the industry, carrying forward the torch that Future lit. This focus on mentorship and collaboration has ensured that Future's influence will continue to grow as he empowers the next generation of artists to find their own voice and make their own impact. However, Future's legacy is not without its complexities. His personal life, particularly his relationships, and his struggles with substance use, has often been the subject of public scrutiny. These aspects of his life, while controversial, have also added depth to his music, allowing him to explore themes of pain, loss, and redemption in a way that resonates deeply with his audience. Future has never shied away from addressing his flaws and challenges in his music, and this willingness to be vulnerable has endeared him to fans who see him as a reflection of their own struggles. As Future looks to the future, he continues to evolve as an artist, always seeking new ways to innovate and stay ahead of the curve. His more recent projects, such as High Off Life and Pluto X Baby Pluto, a collaborative album with Lil Uzi Vert, demonstrate his commitment to pushing the boundaries of his sound while staying true to the elements that made him successful. These projects have been met with both critical and commercial success, reinforcing Future's status as a leader in the hip-hop industry. Looking forward, Future's influence shows no signs of waning. He remains a relevant and vital force in music, continually shaping the direction of hip-hop and popular culture. His legacy is one of innovation, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to his craft. As new generations of artists emerge, they will undoubtedly look to Future as a pioneer who helped pave the way for their own success. In reflecting on his journey, it is clear that Future's story is one of triumph over adversity, of turning pain into power, and of redefining what it means to be an artist in the modern era. From his humble beginnings in Atlanta to his current status as a global icon, Future has remained true to his vision, using his music as a vehicle for both personal expression and cultural impact. As Future continues to create and inspire, his legacy will only grow stronger. He has not only left an indelible mark on hip-hop, but has also influenced the broader landscape of music and culture. His ability to adapt, innovate, and connect with his audience on a deep emotional level has ensured that his music will continue to resonate for generations to come. In the end, Future's legacy is one of transformation, of taking the experiences of life, both good and bad, and turning them into something that resonates with people around the world. He has shown that hip-hop is not just a genre of music, but a powerful tool for storytelling, for expressing the complexities of the human experience, and for inspiring change. As Future's journey continues, there is no doubt that he will remain one of the most influential and enduring figures in the history of music.